Hello farmers, today let's take a deviation from animal farming and look at crops, specifically coffee. Let's look at weeds, their classification, effects and control measures on a coffee farm. A farmer may ask a very simple question: what are weeds? In a layman's language, weeds can be described as plants that grow where they are not wanted and whose disadvantage far outweigh their advantages. For example, a beneficial crop like maize but growing in a beans field can be termed as weed. You can see from this coffee farm, weeds are overgrown and there are different types of weeds here. Weeds also depend on ecological conditions, but they can be grouped into three classes. That is annual weeds, whose life cycle is mostly a year or less than a year. Hingy blackjack. There is also biennial weeds, whose life cycles take 2 years or thereabouts. There is another category of weeds that exist for more than 2 years. That one is now known as perennial weeds. They exist for many years, and these are the ones that cause headaches to most farmers. These are the likes of Kikuyu grass and Kochi grass. From what you can see from this portion of the land, the farmer here has done very well to curtail soil erosion by conducting or making terraces. These are types of bench terraces that prevent the loss of soil through the soil erosion agents. But you can see there is a little bit of mulch, but that mulch is not very helpful since the weeds they have overgrown outside the mulch and everywhere in between. From this other portion of coffee, there's a variance from the first one. Here, there are bench terraces. There is a bit of mulching also. The coffee looks good, but the weeds have overgrown also. They have taken most of the plant nutrients from this coffee, and that is why you can see some of the coffee has even started turning color, like this one, to yellowish, and there are others that also show effects of pest attack, like this one. If I focus my camera closely so that you can see this section, this portion of the coffee that has been eaten by stem borers. This is the flash. This is the flash that is produced by borers as they go inside. Now, if we look at the harmful effects of weeds, include, but they are not limited to, loss of crop by up to over 50% due to competition for water, nutrients, space, and light. Some weeds also act as hiding and breeding places for crop pests and diseases, like we have seen earlier. For example, if you look at this coffee, this plant, this one is almost wilting. It is dying due to the so-called competition of nutrients. Just look at the branches. They are almost dry. This coffee might not last for another 2 or 3 seasons. The effect is that some of the weeds that are growing in this coffee are poisonous, and thus they can act as a danger to man if either consumed accidentally or otherwise. Weeds increase the cost of production due to purchase of herbicide and the labor that is used in controlling them. Likewise, several weed management, the ways that a farmer can use or integrate into his farm to control or either eliminate completely these weeds or control their multiplication. There are cultural ways such as mulching, planting of high density coffee, introduction of shade trees in the coffee farm, like this one here, that one. It offers shade to the coffee plants, thus hindering the growth of weeds, as you have seen. Planting cover crops. These act as both weed suppressors as well as barriers to erosion, soil erosion, especially on steep areas like this one. On top of combining bench terraces, as we saw earlier, with this method of mulching can be very good for crops. Planting cover crops, they are almost one and the same. They serve the same purpose.